All right, Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for November 23rd through the 29th. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology, very different from mainstream astrology, which you can find more about down below. All right, Sagittarius, so there's a lot going on this week astrologically, a very important second half of November. We've got a full moon here in your 6th house of daily stuff, your work, your health, your diet, your routine, perhaps, those kinds of things. And we've had this continuous square between Saturn and Neptune, which is now going exact this week on Thursday. So this has been in regards to uncertainty about our life path. And for you, uncertainty in regards to the meditative time, your spirituality, your unconscious, your subconscious. It's been a very spiritual time with Saturn going into your 12th house to really help you ground and discipline and take seriously, the importance of having that rest and meditative time and prayer and connection to God and these kinds of things, however, that is for you personally. So with that, there's uncertainty, there's doubt. And there might even be uncertainty and doubt involving your communications, involving correspondence and those kinds of daily activities. All right, so, with the mind and things like that. So the key with this is to take it nice and slow, take it nice and patient, as I've been saying for all the other signs, because Saturn's involved, and also have faith and trust that everything is unfolding for the best, as it always is, although we don't always see it that way. So there's a lot of dreams, there's been a lot of visions, so it's about actualizing those, but at the same time, being willing to be adaptive, and to be guided in a new direction perhaps, or just in a way that we have no idea how it's going, right? But still, when you bring in Saturn and you bring in faith in the process, you mix those two together, and you have a really good recipe for working with this transit. Now, this aspect, is very important this week because it's going exact, but also Mercury and the Sun are going over Saturn this week, activating it. And as you can see, that full moon is forming a T-square up to it. All right, so here there's that, awareness now, even culmination of over the past 6 months, anything new relating to your health, your career, in terms of more of your work, your daily activities, and anything else you do on a daily level, okay? So all of that is now becoming aware. You're becoming more, conscious of that. So there's a lot of energy also this week, especially because Mars is going to be trining up to that 6th house. So there is drive. It's a great week for putting in that Mars energy when it comes to the daily stuff, the work stuff, as well as some of that rest, relaxation, and finding how to balance those two and really seeing them as one and the same thing. When we are, doing our work, it's spiritual work. When we are, no matter what it is, and when we are getting that rest and relaxation and meditation, it does take that discipline. It does take that routine and that, grounded approach to it to make it into something. So that's the balancing act between this full moon. And at the very least, though, it's an awareness of your work and things like that, which you can then channel into other areas, even though there's perhaps some uncertainty about that particular area. Okay. But the drive, the motivation, it's a good time for productive stuff and moving forward with specifically your what you might call spirituality, as well as your daily stuff. Okay, but finding that balancing point. So that's going to be the high point, the key of the week. Now, in this early part, we do have Venus opposing up to Uranus these first couple days. So balance of home, family, your domestic life, and your work or career life will be important these first couple days. Could be something sudden, maybe involving the work stuff, since Venus does rule your 6th or at work. And so whatever it is, if it's a surprise, sudden, it just depends on our personal charts if we have something else activating this. Keep it grounded, but it could be exciting if it's done in a balanced way. Okay. So that's the first couple days, as well as the sun starting to shift into your 12th house of Scorpio. So while you've perhaps been thinking about or been very consciously aware of more of the psyche, the unconscious, your dream space, things like that, now you've got the sun, which is just magnifying it, just illuminating all of that. So it's a great time for that reflection. It's a great time for understanding more about yourself in that inner spiritual sense. And again, grounding that with Saturn. So that's going to be this shift into Scorpio with the sun, and it is just so important for this time period to sort of rest and get that alone time before all of these planets go into your 1st house here in about a month. And then also on Wednesday, Mercury goes over Saturn, so there's that serious and uncertain thinking with that square up to Neptune as well. So same applies, but especially involving your thoughts, communications, involving relationships, okay, and also involving your career. Patience and hard work with a lot of that could go a long ways. But again, Mars is here, really supporting this part of the chart. So lots of energy available and confidence available to be used productively in this area. Then over the weekend, we do have Chiron going station direct here in that third house. So final healing, because he's going to make his way into Pisces now. Final healing involving your communications, involving your mind. There's things coming up here, if it's intelligence or whatever it is, that we feel wounded about, communication skills, feel wounded about, that we can then accept. And once we have that acceptance, then that rejuvenation is a result of that. So I think there'll naturally be a shift with that going into next week. And then also over the weekend, the sun goes over Saturn. So a lot of this is becoming illuminated this week. There's a lot of awareness about it, and it's really seeing the reality of things in that sense. But there's still that needing of faith and trust in the whole thing, because all this is squaring up to Neptune. Right. So the key is culmination with work, awareness of work, motivation and drive is great there, and hard work really to maybe get that time out, that spiritual time, that connection to God, that connection to, just the present moments and all that is, and life in and of itself. And through that, it does create that grounded energy that is needed for all of us right now at the moment. All right, Sagittarius, so have a great week. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.